This is the ultimate art of playing dead. Nick deliberately widened his eyes, lying motionless on the desert floor in scorching 90-degree heat, terrified that the wealthy man nearby might discover he was still alive. Little did he know the rich guy was naturally suspicious. He raised his hunting rifle and started shooting at him, as several shots rang out in succession. Nick on the ground was already breaking out in a cold sweat from fear. Fortunately, the wealthy man wanted to avoid leaving evidence, so every shot perfectly missed Nick. The rich man's purpose in doing this was simply to test whether Nick was still alive, and Nick's masterful acting successfully fooled the wealthy man, who was about to drive back to the big city. But unexpectedly, the rich guy had a lingering suspicion. Before leaving, he picked up binoculars to double-check. To his surprise, he saw Nick very much alive, striding energetically toward the mountaintop. Witnessing this scene, the wealthy man flew into a rage. No longer in the mood to toy with Nick, he immediately pulled out a sniper rifle, aimed at Nick halfway up the mountain and pulled the trigger. Fortunately, the distance was too great. The rich man's consecutive shots all failed to hit their mark. He could only drive toward the slope in pursuit. At this moment, Nick didn't dare stop for even a second, climbing toward the cave above, because in his memory, once upon a time, he and his girlfriend had been in the cave's water pool. There must be a water source there. But when he arrived after tremendous effort, the scene before him filled him with utter despair. The water pool had completely dried up. Nick collapsed helplessly on the ground. At this moment, he was completely consumed by despair. The desert night was bone-chillingly cold, making Nick shiver uncontrollably on the ground. Meanwhile, the wealthy man outside stood guard motionlessly at the cave entrance. The moment Nick stepped out of the cave, he would shoot him dead on the spot. With Nick trapped in the cave and nowhere to retreat, he decided to make a desperate last stand. He took out his slingshot as a weapon. After several hours of continuous practice, Nick finally mastered perfect accuracy. Then he crawled out of the cave. While the rich man had turned away to urinate, he carefully approached the wealthy man's car and took out a coat to keep himself warm. But the returning rich man soon noticed that the car door had been tampered with. Before long, he discovered Nick hiding behind the car, so he immediately put it in reverse and rammed straight toward Nick. Fortunately, Nick quickly dove under the car, narrowly escaping disaster. But this completely exposed him to the wealthy man. The rich guy planned to run Nick over. Seeing this situation, Nick had to hide behind the rocks. The furious wealthy man actually pulled out explosives and threw them at him. Watching Nick flee in panic, the rich man was instantly delighted. After using up his explosives, he immediately pulled out his sniper rifle. He wanted to silence this witness permanently. Nick hid behind the rocks, not daring to show his head. But at the crucial moment, the rich man's gun ran out of bullets. He had to reload in the car. Seeing this opportunity, Nick rushed out to launch a surprise attack. The next second, the wealthy man was also knocked unconscious by this devastating blow. When he regained consciousness, the tables had completely turned. He was tied up and secured to the seat by Nick, while Nick leisurely ate food. The rich man still tried to bribe Nick with money, but Nick now saw money as worthless, taking him to the police station to face justice. He thought the wealthy man would rot in prison, but then he accidentally discovered on the police station computer that the rich guy was actually the local tycoon. Just then, the sound of a helicopter came from outside.